Welcome to the Empress Lioness, a sacred space where the spirit roars and the soul remembers everything. In each episode, we sit with visionaries, founders, creators, and healers. I'm your host, Karen Mitchell. So, Brittany, we are back to our part 2, and I'm going to allow you to tell your story.
Okay. So it's a bit of a long one. So I start from the very beginning. My very first introduction to the sexual world was it was at the age of 6, and I'm not entirely sure which came first, but I remember my mother's husband's cousin. We stayed with his aunt, and he was he was maybe like 15 at the time, I think, maybe like 14, 13, somewhere in there. And at night, like when my mom and her husband would go to sleep, he would ask you, like, we would be like, oh, let's go down to the basement and play, right? And so then we would go down to the basement, and he would rub on me, you know? And it was just kind of like, and hump me. He would hump me. And I would just kind of lay there. And I was confused. And so that happened for like, oh, I'm not really sure. I feel like it happened. I feel because we were only there for a few weeks. I feel like it happened maybe like a week and a half, right? So leaving that, I was more confused than anything else, you know? And then I want to say maybe like a year, not even a year. I want to say it was a few months. So his grandmother who would watch him, she would watch me too, like for during the summer. And so I remember we were laying on the floor. I was laying on the floor, and he was on top of me. And this wasn't the first time that it happened there, but it's the one that sticks out in my mind.
They were there, you said?
They were there, but I don't know that they knew.
Okay, okay.
They were there, but I don't know that they knew. He was always very sneaky, so I don't think that they knew.
Okay.
But so he was laying on top of me, and I remember, so the first time he had performed oral sex on me, I didn't understand it. I didn't really feel anything. I was just kind of laying there, just confused. And then the next time that it happened, he had tried to get me to give him oral sex, and I just laid there with my mouth closed. Like I just refused to open my mouth. And so he started to choke me, right? And so I laid there, and I couldn't really make a sound. His grandmother was in the other room across from us. And I was just praying that she would like get up and walk, but it didn't happen. So he kept choking me for a little bit. And I still like refused, and I kept my mouth closed and whatever. And then he finally stopped, and he got up and he left out of frustration. And I was just laying there, and I was petrified. I was so scared. But I just got up and, went on by my business. And that, I want to say a little bit after that, like we were sitting at the kitchen table, and he was like, oh, he was playing with a knife, and he was like, oh, I could cut you anytime I want, and something like that. And I'm just sitting, and again, I'm terrified, but I'm just sitting there like, okay, like I couldn't really, like, I know what to say. And then so at the end of that, I told my mother that it happened. No, I told my cousin that it happened. And she called my mom, and she ran home, and she was just like, she was like, oh my God. She didn't say much. It was just kind of like I could tell that she was bothered. And it was like this big thing for a while, and then just like nothing happened. Right. It fizzled out, but she didn't make me go over it again, which was nice.
Okay.
And then so I remember after that, I started watching porn. I was curious. I was like, what is this thing? And my mother's husband caught me watching porn, right? And so he was like, okay, well, since you like watching porn, we can watch porn together, right? And immediately, I was like, I don't want to watch porn. Right. And so, like, I was just down. I remember the very first time it happened. I was downstairs doing my homework. I was in middle school at the time. I want to say I was like 13 when it started. I said originally said 14, but I think it was 13 because I was actually, oh no, I was 12 when it started. I was 12
Memory.
because huh?
What jogged the memory?
Uh, the me sitting doing homework, and I was always a year behind the age I was supposed to be. So I was
Okay.
sitting doing homework, and this was my goodness. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I was 11 actually. Because I was thinking about doing homework, and I was trying to remember what grade I was in. I was actually 11 when it started. So, I'm sitting down doing homework. I was in the 7th grade at the time. I was sitting there doing homework, and he came downstairs and he cut porn on the TV. And I'm sitting and I'm just like, and he's just watching porn, and I'm sitting and I'm trying my best to ignore him while I'm doing my homework. And right. And then my mother and my sisters got home because there was a gap between when because I got out of school at I got home at like 3:45. They didn't get home till like 5. So right. So there was a gap. And so that time happened, and then my mother and them came home. So he just got up and pretended like nothing happened and went to greet them. And after that, he started trying to get me to watch like porn with him ever so often. I didn't feel like I had a choice. I think we watched porn for maybe like a few times, and then they broke up because they were going through hardships or whatever. And I was so happy. Oh, I was so happy that they broke up. And then they got back together. And then it didn't start though again until maybe a year and a half after they got back together, right? And I don't remember necessarily the first time that it started back up again, but it was an escalation. So at one point, it was just watching porn together. And I say together, meaning like he forced me to watch porn with him.
Yeah.
And I remember the time that he masturbated like to finish to completion in front of me when we were watching porn, and I was just literally shocked. I was sitting there, I was shocked, I was disgusted. I was just like, ugh. It's just like just
Yeah.
a skin crawling feeling. And I remember just wanting to I just wanted the floor to open up and I could just go anywhere but
Frolic
where
you
I
in
was.
it.
Right. And for that, so he would also give me like toys to try.
Who was this?
So I was 13, 14 at the time. So he would have been 31. No, 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 no. And it was just kind of like he would ask me to give him, he wanted a play-by-play, right? Of me using the toy and how it was, right? And so I would just lie. I would just lie and lie, like, oh yeah, da 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 da. Because otherwise, he would not leave me alone until I told him that I tried it. Like he would not, it was just not a thing. Oh, like I think I don't know. There would be unexplained pauses in the middle of this, and it would I can't really explain it. I don't really know why, but it would be like it would happen, and then he would just stop bringing it up, stop everything, and then he would start it back up again. Go ahead.
Would you wonder like that gap was because you think maybe your mom might have known, and so they would to like a thing, and then he would just lay off of you, and I'm only doing that based off of my experience.
I don't know. I don't know because she definitely saw, and at one point he told me that she did. She would definitely catch him looking at me. And I know because I remember one time I was walking around and I had this big shirt on, but I didn't have a bra on because I was getting ready to go to bed. And she had stopped me to talk, and I'm talking to her, and he is like staring at my chest, like staring at my chest like it's a bug there. And he's staring at my chest so intensely that he didn't catch her glaring at him watching him do this, right? And so, to be honest, I do not know. I don't know. I remember he put cameras in my wall, one right by my bed and one across the room. So it was 2 cameras.
Yeah.
And I was like so mortified when I found them. I was mortified. I felt so violated.
You told your mom?
No. So the reason why I didn't tell her until years later. I was an adult when I told her. And the reason why I didn't tell her at the time it was happening was because I did a risk assessment, and the assessment was if she didn't know, which I suspected she didn't. I would felt like at some point it just kind of felt like she was happy that we were getting along, because when I was younger we didn't get along at all. There's something about his spirit that I hated, and now I understand why. When things were calm, it's just like she was just happy to. But either way, if she knew, if she didn't know, in my mind, I thought he was lying, and I was like, okay, if I tell her and she doesn't care, I am stuck in this house with this woman who has openly said she didn't care, and this man who now knows that I can't go to her. And so I was like, because my fear was that if I told her and then nothing happened, now I would be stuck in this house and he might feel like he could do more.
Right. Right.
And so, but she did ask me once. She asked me once if he had touched me.
While you were still in the home, or
Yeah. She
and
asked me once. Huh?
and what did you say?
I said no.
Why did you say no?
Because I knew she wouldn't protect me if I said yes. Like, and it's sad because it's like I knew that if I told her, yeah, she wouldn't protect me, because she was the type, she would, like, when we would watch stuff about women who got raped, or like the R. Kelly situation, it was just like, oh, those girls wanted it. Like, she was very much a blame the victim type. And I was like, okay, she is not going to give a damn. And even with the cousin that molested me, he still would come around.
I'm your host, Karen Mitchell.